It asked me, "Hey Nima, what game are you the most hyped for in January 2024? I would have told you without a doubt it's the game where you fight the love child of a gigantic spider and Thomas the Train, and you have a Gatling gun attached to a train yourself, as well as other weapons. That, for me, would be the game I'm most hyped for. Although, to be honest, Choo-Choo Charles isn't actually my game of January 2024, but it is still a really good game, and we're going to check that out and do a review on that, as well as another game called WitchWise, which, I gotta be honest, completely took me for a loop. Didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but that'll be on the second half of this video. Yes, this is another video, but we're doing 2 reviews. Well, we got a lot of games to go over. This month really piled up quickly. Typically, I don't like doing 2 reviews in one video. I feel like I'm shortchanging someone, but luckily, there's not a lot of story in either one of these games, so we're good in that aspect. But you should definitely stick around to the end of the video because WitchWise is a really good game and it's below $5. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button and turn the notifications on. That really helps me out. But let's get to the game about Thomas the Train's love child. Now, this game, you're a monster hunter. You arrive at this island that is being terrorized by this gigantic spider train. And from now on, we're just going to call him Charles. It doesn't take you long to figure out that there is a mining company on this island that is actually protecting some eggs that Charles finds very, very important. And obviously, this big conglomerate has something to do with Charles as well. In fact, the guy who brings us in to hunt Charles actually sort of discovered him. You see, he was part of this mining crew. They dug too deep and unleashed this evil upon this island. Now, honestly, looking into this game, I was thinking, this sounds kind of silly. Really? Like, there is an evil to Thomas the Train, and you're supposed to hunt him down and kill him? Like, that can't be that scary. I gotta be honest with you, pretty freaking scary. The graphics of the game are really good. The environment is also what really helps settle you into this, like, unsettling world. A lot of the people are just off. They're very weird, and I guess you would be to live on an island where there's a gigantic spider train who at any point could just come and kill you. You're probably not going to be all there. Not only that, the amount of just death, people just being killed randomly, and everyone just sort of accepts it. Oh, looks like Charles ate Grandpa. No big deal. We knew it was going to happen. That sort of mentality. Everything about this world is just very off-putting, and that really adds to the horror, creepy environment. But also so is the fact that Charles will come after you if you're not in your train. See, a good chunk of the game actually involves you being outside of the train. You're going through the mines, you're actually grabbing these eggs, and you're trying to lure Charles into a fight. Not only that though, you have to get off your train to explore to find scraps, because these scraps are incredibly important. Not only do they work like an extra life for you, but you can also use them to repair your train, to increase the damage that it can take or the damage it can do, as well as the speed of the train. So all of that is really important. And weapons. You can find weapons by doing certain missions, but most of these are actually outside of your train. So if you're messing around too much, kind of exploring or trying to find stuff, Charles will come running up and just eat you. And let me tell you, the sound of Charles coming up is this immediate, oh crap. Because you know he's going to get you. If you're not in your train, you don't stand a chance against him. And Charles is incredibly fast. The thing is, he's not the only thing you have to worry about. Not only the miners who are heavily armed, I don't know why, but they're also ones you have to watch out for, because if they catch you trying to steal the eggs, they will shoot at you. And then there's some weird masked cult that hangs out at different places, and they will shoot you and chase you on sight. I have to be honest though, is one of the fun parts of the game, running down these cultists on your train while shooting a Gatling gun at them. I can't tell you how many times I was going down the track looking for something, and then they'd start shooting at me and chasing me on the track. And of course, I would get just enough space so that they would keep running and trying to get right behind me. Then I'd slam that baby into reverse, hop on the Gatling gun or flamethrower, and, well, just have some fun. But the thing is, this game is really all about speed. You see, I mentioned before that you're just pretty much dead if Charles finds you because he's incredibly fast. You can't make it back to your train. And even your train is not that fast for Charles. You have to use your weapons to keep him back. Aside from wanting to do everything as fast as possible and to move around as quick as possible, the game is also about scraps and the tug of war of deciding what goes where, how many you want to keep, just to repair your train, or, as I said before, you need scraps to be able to respawn if you get killed. And there's also the need for better weapons, for better armor, all of those things, yet when looking for scraps, you can't be on your train. So you also have to do that as fast as possible. Ultimately, the game is actually really fun, and I really enjoyed it. Love the graphics, love the sound, the whole environment. It's creepy, but it sort of reminds me of a good, like, B film from back in the 90s. Just these kind of crappy horror films, but done really well. Like, this would have been great on the Sci-Fi Channel when the Sci-Fi Channel was awesome. But the two things that I would kind of hold against the game is length, for one, because I beat the game in a little over 3 hours. It was relatively easy, and ultimately Charles is your only real enemy, and lack of direction. There were many times I kind of got lost in the game, which I know sounds weird to be like, oh, it's short, but then also I got lost. Like, if you didn't, then how short would the game really be? Would it be like an hour, hour and a half? I don't know. And that is part of my issue, is like, it could take you 5 hours if you have absolutely no clue where to go and you're just constantly being killed by Charles. But at the same time, I think that's part of the game and it adds a little bit more to it. So, I'm not going to completely ding it too bad for that, but ultimately, I give this game a solid 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. I think it's totally worth the cash because it looks like a AAA game. Like, it looks really good. It performs really well. With as fast as everything's moving and Charles himself, I had no lags or no real issues to complain about. For me, it was just a good old-fashioned fun horror game. Now, from good old-fashioned fun horror game to just good old-fashioned fun game, gotta talk about WitchWise. Now, I do have to thank the publishers for their review copy of this game, and to be honest, I wasn't super hyped to review it. I didn't think I was gonna like it. It's basically a boomer shooter that has the aesthetics of like a Minecraft. Now, it has that art style on purpose, not because of limitations, and so when utilizing that art style, it actually looks pretty good. Like, the graphics themselves are really defined. The environment, the enemies, the multiple bosses, they all look really good. But you might wonder, well, what's the story? Well, easy enough here. I can do it in about 2 sentences. You're essentially a young witch who's learning how to control your spells. Well, there's an older witch who's not happy with a young upstart witch taking her spot, and so she tries to kill you essentially. And she seeks all of these minions upon you, and you essentially just dungeon crawl in that boomer shooter style, killing a bunch of bad guys and making yourself stronger along the way. You do gain levels, you are able to find multiple wands and weapons. You start up as a short sword, but quickly advance to a wand, and each one of the wands, as well as different keys, will unlock different paths in this game. Ultimately, that's pretty much the game. Like, it's not a huge game, there's not a lot to it, but what is there is just really fun. I super enjoyed the game. I will say a little bit on the easy side, and I think it took me about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours to beat it, but it was well worth it. Like, it was a good, what I would say, bang for your buck type of game. It's a lot of fun. I just enjoyed my time playing it. I enjoyed exploring and really unlocking the different parts of the dungeon, and ultimately, yes, fighting the multiple bosses, because that was really great too. Again, the story is really light, but it is what it is, and what it is a really fun boomer shooter. Nothing too complex, nothing too over the top, but really fun. And so for me, if I was going to give this game a score, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10 for being a really fun game that only comes in at $4.99. But please let me know what your thoughts are on these games. Are you interested in either one of them, or both of them, or none of them? What games are you playing in January 2024? Anything and everything in the comment section is so much appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.